Hi, Tony Sells here. Welcome to Zipline. You know, I got a very unique treat today. One of the best, greatest business coaches probably in the Midwest, if not the United States. A great friend of mine, a great friend of our businesses. McClanahan is my guest today on the Zipline. And, you know, we get to talk about a lot of great things today. But CJ, you know, this whole idea of business coaching, you know, you've taken it to another level. What does that mean in your world? What is Reach More all about? What do you guys do over there?
Yeah, you know, we began this thing, you know, Tony, 11 years ago, and that was when people didn't really know what business coaching was, and not every other person you met was a business coach. Right. I'd say that 11 years ago, we started off by thinking that what our goal is to teach business people, executives, whomever it is, how to execute everything you needed to do in business, how to write a marketing plan, so on and so forth. What we've evolved that to is to recognize that information transfer, you know, telling someone how to do something is really highly commoditized. If you don't know how to put together a marketing plan, then you don't have Google and you can't type how to put together a marketing plan into the search box. Getting executives to change behavior, getting business leaders to do the things they know they need to do, helping them prioritize, that's really what business coaching has turned into. Right. And that's why I think we've had a lot of success.
Well, I agree. I think, you know, it's one thing to be a subject matter expert and, you know, to get paid for what you know. And, you know, some people would call that consulting. It's another thing to put ideas into action, to create accountability, to drive behavior. And I mean, I think that's what you've kind of built your name on. It's not only having the, you know, the knowledge, but driving the need for change and helping people stay motivated and inspired and move through that change, because it's hard, right? I mean, there's a lot of gravity pulling at you as a business owner, and I think that's part of what you do that's so powerful, is help people inspire and move, you know, through that change. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. In fact, if people did what I told them to do, my entire business model would collapse. If I told them to do something one time and they just did it, oh my gosh, I'd have to go out and get a real job.
Right. Yeah, they wouldn't need you anymore.
No kidding. Yeah, getting a human being to change a behavior that they've had for a very long period of time, or getting them to adopt a new habit, or getting them to see things differently, you know, shifting paradigms, that's really, really tricky. And if you're unable to do that, you're not going to have any success.
So, you know, CJ, I mean, our tagline is lead with why. And, you know, I always like getting people on, especially like people like you on the show. What is your why? What drives you? What motivates you to get up every day and to help these organizations create this kind of change in movement and growth in their culture and in what they're trying to get done?
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, I think you guys are right in touch with what needs to be done. Is you got to connect with that why, because eventually you're going to make money and get bored making money. We've always said here at Reach More that we are in the inspiration business, and our goal is to inspire growth in everything that we do, and that means inspire growth in our employees, inspire growth in ourselves, inspire growth in our clients. And so, what does inspire growth mean? Fundamentally, it means that everyone wakes up today and goes, "I'm a better version of myself today than I was yesterday, but not quite as good as I will be tomorrow." Right. And that drives every decision we make. And if we're not able to do that with a client, we don't take them on. We're all about inspiring people to recognize deep down, what do I want to do, and helping them connect with what that is.
So how much do you have to really, you know, dig down to that for your clients? Do you find like sometimes they're lost? Maybe the motivation they got from it, you know, from here is not the same motivation they're going to need to go from here to here, and they lose their kind of their way, for lack of better terms. Maybe they started a business out of survival, or they started a business because, you know, they got fired, or they started a business because they needed to provide a different kind of standard of living for their family, and then they achieve that, you know, where they're making more money than ever thought, right? And they don't know what to do next. Do you find that they kind of lose their why?
Sure, yeah. My first made-up statistic of the day will be this. 90% of executives or business owners or entrepreneurs come to me and they have really no idea where they're going. Right. They think they know, but when you dig and you peel back the onion a few layers, they don't really know. And so the first thing you got to do is to get them to figure out, where am I really going? Because if you can't connect emotionally with where you're going, the first time an obstacle pops up, you're going to quit.
So CJ, we've been talking about, like, in the office, and this is actually the title of the new book that we're going to write, and I really want to hear your perspective on this. this idea of being unreasonable. I mean, it's unreasonable to start your own business. It's unreasonable to sell because you're going to lose more than you're going to win. It's unreasonable to market because you're going to lose more than you're going to win. This idea of being unreasonable, I mean, it's so unreasonable to have faith in, in a higher power and in Jesus and God and all this stuff. But yet, so many people do it, and there's a certain breed that succeeds in business and is able to do it over and over. And then there's a lot of failure out there. What do you think is this difference between being unreasonable, succeeding, and how does that all work together?
I'm getting ready to give you some stuff that's probably going to give you goosebumps. I mean, you're probably 30, 40 seconds away from it because I've tapped into exactly what this is. It all comes down to a concept of something called belief. And what I mean by that is, in fact, I've radically rethought the way that I coach and train based upon this concept, because typically I think about tactics. How do I tactically help people improve? But in reality, tactics are simple. It's belief is where you got to start. And unreasonable people start with a belief in themselves and a belief in what it is that they're doing with their life. And they never give up tweaking and growing that belief. And once you have belief in something big, you're really unstoppable. And I've seen that time and time and time again, where people, they just don't have any belief, and I give them every tactic known to man, and they don't do the tactics because they just don't give a crap. But when I tap into that belief, just get out of the way, people are unstoppable. And it can be from building a big business, building a nonprofit, teaching kids in school, being the best mailman ever. It doesn't matter what it is, but once you believe in something, you just get out of the way. You can just knock it out of the way.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like, it's one of the reasons you got to start with why, right? You got to believe in something that's bigger than yourself. And as soon as you get, congruent and aligned to that, then you're able to create with abilities beyond even your own ability. And that's tied into the higher power. I'm so glad you kind of got clear on it, that relationship to belief and what people do. What is the one thing, the one change and difference you're trying to make with every client that you work with? You walk away and you can say, if I just did this with them, I can sleep tight. I can go to bed with a clear conscience for taking their money and for doing what we got to do.
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say, Tony, is that they recognize this concept of choice and invincibility. And when I say that, I mean, if you choose to do something and you give it everything you can, you really are invincible. It goes back to that W. Clement Stone quote from years ago, and he said, whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. And if I can get people to recognize that, I feel I've done my work, because tactically speaking, they'll figure out everything else.
CJ McClanahan, you've been Zip.